Triangles. Stock market triangle patterns are appearing in a lot of individual stocks, and that has implications for what the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, and the Dow are likely to do over the next couple weeks. Let's say going into Labor Day. Triangle patterns are also tradable patterns, and they're classics of technical analysis. So I got 5 stocks I want to show you that are lined up like this, and then we'll look at the averages. And I'm also going to talk about the TBT trade that I did last week. Did a video about it too. So what you're looking at here is the chart, the stock, Old Dominion Freight Line. It's in the Nasdaq. Now, just like the rest of the stock market, this stock went down quite a bit. And then it made a double bottom in May and June, and then it's been going up since then, up more than almost 20%. Now, a triangle pattern is really simple. You can see I drew a triangle on this stock, and they're basically pause consolidation patterns. After a stock has rallied, it pauses, and the price action goes sideways. And a triangle forms, and it's usually a pause, and then you get a breakout through the triangle, and then a short-term move up. And a lot of people trade patterns like that, and they look for them in the stock market. Really simple, basic continuation patterns. Now, notice too that this triangle pattern is appearing on the green line on the chart. That's the 200-day moving average, which is right at 300. So we're getting a triangle continuation pattern right on 300 on this stock. Now, the next stock I want to show you is Paychex. Also, a very simple triangle consolidation pattern. Resistance, the recent high is 130. There will be stock trading robots and people that are going to be watching this stock this week. And if it moves through 130, they'll buy it for a short-term trade. Here's another one. And I actually like this stock better than the last 2 stocks. And I'll tell you why in a second. But the very simple triangle consolidation pattern. The consolidation is happening around 185. Now, the reason why I like this stock better than the last 2 is that it's outperforming the S&P 500. While Paychex is right on the 200-day moving average, this stock is above it. In fact, when the stock market averages were going to new lows in April and May for the year, this stock was not. This is Cadence Design Systems. It's in the Nasdaq, and it's proven itself because of what it did in May and June to emerge. You know, if you ranked all the stocks in the Nasdaq 100 by relative strength, this stock is going up to the top. So if the Nasdaq was to go up as much as some people out there saying, this stock will likely lead on the move, and lead in August too, if we can just get a continuation of what's been going on in the past couple of weeks. So let me show you another stock, also outperforming the Nasdaq and most stocks inside of it. That is O'Reilly Automotive Group. Now it's consolidating around 710. You can see it went all the way down to 570. So it's a big swing in this stock. In stocks that are volatile, that can make big swings, also attract short-term traders. Now, here's one that's also got a triangle pattern, but it's one I would not buy for a short-term trade because the other 2 stocks that I talked about are doing better. They're outperforming the market averages. This is Microsoft. And yes, it has a triangle pattern, but it's below the 200-day moving average and below the 150-day moving average. So this is this all suggests, because these aren't the only 2 stocks having this pattern, it's becoming widespread in the market, that we can get a continuation of the recent rally, and that's positive for the short term this month. It has no implications on what the market means, long term, bull or bear. These are just short term trading patterns. Now, to signal a note of caution, the big narrative that has been out there for several weeks is that the Fed is pivoting. They're not going to raise interest rates, or they're going to stop soon. Inflation is going to go away. In the bond market was rallying. In long-term bonds were coming down, which seemed to be confirmation to back up that narrative. But all that fell apart last week. That bond rally, it lost momentum. And on Friday, we saw jobs numbers that showed that the unemployment rate has dropped, which has increased the odds of a 75-point rate hike in September at the next meeting at the end of that month. And several Federal Reserve officials came out and said, "Hey, look, these people saying we're going to pivot, they're really not correct about that." And that's something to take very seriously. So the trade I talked about in the middle of last week was to do TBT. It's an ETF that trades opposite to TLT. It goes up when TLT, which is a bond ETF, goes down, and you can see that this was up 4.7 over 4%, close to 5% on Friday after the jobs numbers. So that's what's going on in that trade. We can also, draw a resistance on this, and we broke above it Friday. I think this is usually a slow moving ETF, and but I think we've seen likely the bottom in it at 23. I've got a mental stop loss on this symbol below the 150-day moving average, which is 23 right now. So that's what's going on to that. Now let's quickly look at the S&P 500. So again, it's below the 150-day moving average, is below the 200-day moving average, which is resistance in the market now. And in bull markets, the averages trade above those levels and typically will test them and bottom on them once or twice a year to make for a wonderful buy point. But now, we're in a more bearish market this year. We're still below them. And in serious bear markets, they act as resistance. So I think what we're seeing is a rally, that started in June up to those moving averages now. And the next significant, we're at 41.45 on the S&P 500. And it did gap down on that unemployment news that showed lower unemployment levels and movements in the bond market. But the market, it gapped and went up, took back most of the losses on the open, short-term bullish. It does not look like it's about to, in the short term, tumble to me. But what happens when it encounters these resistance levels, what happens in September, basically after the next Fed meeting, that's going to be, I think a time we may have to reevaluate the market. But, we're probably going to test those averages. The next short-term resistance level is the 50% retracement of the June low and peak early in the year, which is around 42.27, roughly 80 points from here. And then after that, you're really looking at that 200-day moving average. So we're in an interesting time. Short term, as I said, the bulls are in control still. They shook off the Friday employment numbers. It'd take a really bad event to not short-term knock the market down. And we got all these short-term triangle patterns. We see triangles in the market, and that's the pattern that's materializing. And that implication is short-term momentum. We can get a thrust up in this market here. And people are going to be looking at trade patterns such as the ones I showed you. Now, if you are interested in long-term investing and trading patterns, ones that are good for trades more than just a few weeks, I did a video about the single best, most profitable consistent trading pattern I've ever used since I started trading in the 1990s. I call it the twofold formula. I'm linking to that in the bottom, in the description of this video. You're going to want to watch that. It's only like 5 minutes long. And in the description of that video, there's a link to a book, an ebook I wrote free, just a PDF you can read and get more details about that. So I do videos on all topics, types of topics, news, politics, real estate. If you want more about my stock market trading, and I talk about gold investing, hit the like button and I'll make more videos about that. And if you are new to my videos, you want to get the next one, I'll maybe talking about something Michael Burry has talked about in a stock that was the hottest stock in the market Friday. That video will be coming out tomorrow at 2 o'clock, and you can get notified by hitting subscribe and the bell next to it by YouTube as soon as it's up, and I'll be talking with you tomorrow.